So TikTok is like completely destroying our mental health, apparently. I have been reading a ton of research on this. How did this even happen? This thing started as like a light-hearted dance app. If anyone is an OG and above the age of, I don't know, 7, you remember that TikTok was previously musically the most cringe thing since Renata Bliss, the freestyle dance teacher. But it was like a light-hearted thing and people would make these dance videos, they'd do the lip sync thing. That's what TikTok used to be. But now, a lot of the content on there, I was scrolling through videos. I'm like, mate, this is the worst thing to consume for 5 minutes, let alone hours a day. When I talk to people, especially young people, they're coming out with the craziest stuff. People are like, okay, I'm 17, I'm about to go to university, but I don't have any passive income. Sorry? I think I was still watching Nickelodeon when I was 17, to be honest. If we are all watching hours upon hours of short-form content every single day, is this actually harmful? Are we overthinking this? Is TikTok really that bad? I went through 8 research papers specifically on this topic. Unfortunately, what I found was worse than I thought. It's not looking good, bruv. So the first study that I read, a group of researchers basically took 300 university students, asked them how much short form content they watch, particularly TikTok in this study. They also asked them this kind of depression questionnaire to find out how depressed they are, kind of on a scale of 1 to 10. They left the students alone for 2 months, and then they came back 2 months later to ask the same amount of questions and basically see what changed. What this study pointed to was that if you are more depressed, that does not mean that you're going to watch more short form content. However, if you watch a lot of short form content, there's a positive correlation that you're going to become more depressed and more unsatisfied with your life. So there is a causal link between watching more short form content and feeling more depressed and unsatisfied with life. Okay, what does depression actually mean? How do people's feelings change on a day-to-day basis, and what are they actually feeling? So that brings me to the second paper, which tries to find out exactly what people are feeling on the ground as a result of watching too much TikTok and short-form content. A group of researchers looked at 17,000 adolescent TikTok users across 10 different countries. This research paper found 6 distinct patterns in the way that people are feeling as a result of watching and over-consuming TikTok. Number 1, people in general are feeling lower life satisfaction to a pretty high degree. So they're feeling things like much higher anxiety, much higher stress, self-hatred, feeling like their life is really, really dull. The second behavioral pattern that was found is that people have higher average anger. They're not able to hold good relationships. They snap at people faster. They don't have great relationships with their parents. Number 3, incredibly low self-esteem. TikTok has bred this comparison culture higher than we've ever had. I mean, we've always compared ourselves against other people. Does this guy have more money? Is this guy taller? But we used to compare ourselves with our neighbor or the person in our village or the person in our school. Now you are seeing the richest people and you're saying, okay, this one's on a jet ski, and you're like, damn, I don't have any of these things. Number 4, reduced sleep quality. 2/3 of that is because they're scrolling for too long at night, but 1/3 of that is because they have such high anxiety, such high stress. They basically have insomnia. So the lower sleep quality isn't just because this thing is so addictive and we can't put it down. It's also a secondary effect of the horrific anxiety and stress that this is causing. Number 4, prospective memory loss. Now, this is a really, really interesting thing. People that watch too much short-form content report that they are so much more forgetful and their working memory is worse. Working memory, prospective memory, that's basically like if you are in the kitchen and you need to go and get a water bottle from upstairs, by the time you've already gone upstairs, you've completely forgotten what you went upstairs for. That's working memory. And people that overconsume TikTok content, they have significantly worse working memory. There was actually a study done by a couple of researchers. They took like a couple hundred participants and they said, okay, you are going to play a game. And the game has kind of tricky rules. And we're going to play 2 rounds of this game. So you can play 1 round now. It's going to last 10 minutes. Then you're going to have a 10-minute break. And then you're going to play another round later. We're going to split you guys up. So in that 10-minute break in between the 2 rounds, a percentage of you are going to go on TikTok. A percentage of you are going to go on YouTube, a percentage of you are going to go on Twitter, and then a percentage of you are just going to meditate, just going to take a rest. They divided them all up and set them off to play this game. And what they found, because the rules were quite tricky, the recollection of the rules of this game was about 80% in the first round when they first started. And that was across the board. And then they had the break. And so people went away and went on TikTok, or they went on YouTube, or they went on Twitter, or they took a break. They came back to play round 2. And when they played round 2, the people that went on Twitter still had 80% working memories. They still remembered 80% of the rules. People that went on YouTube still remembered 80% of the rules. People that took a break still remembered 80% of the rules. But the people that went on TikTok remembered 40% of the rules in round 2. That's a 40% reduction. It's halving. whatever it is. I don't know. We don't do maths. Why are we doing public maths? TikTok had a specific degradation in your working memory. If I just think about myself right now, I feel like I'm way more forgetful because I'm so used to scrolling something and then 0.9 seconds later scrolling on something else, 0.9 seconds scrolling on something else. There's so much information being flooded into my head that, yeah, you kind of overload the RAM and it's pretty hard to remember things. So the final significant behavioral pattern that was found from overconsuming TikTok as a teenager is kind of the worst one a little bit. It's kind of the most egregious, which is people, teenagers that overconsume TikTok have a higher tendency to have serious body image problems, body dysmorphia, and in the worst cases, they develop an eating disorder. And the cause of this is, of course, you're seeing beautiful people, you're seeing super in shape people. If you're a guy, you're seeing people that look like Captain America all the time, thousands of people that look like Captain America, and you're there and you're maybe not the most ripped dude, you're not 6% body fat. If you're a girl, you're seeing all of these amazing supermodels with amazing bums and whatever and flat stomachs. It's all for show, but as an adolescent, you're not really seeing that. All you're seeing is that, wow, there are so many people in the world that look so unbelievably amazing. I don't look like that. And so I'm going to do something drastic like starve myself or eat a ridiculously egregious, harsh diet that's actually very, very unhealthy and dangerous for me. One of the saddest things about this is quite a lot of adolescents have reported that they don't feel comfortable in their own skin. They're not happy with their bodies. And so they have looked to TikTok for the solution of how to make their body better. And they developed an eating disorder because they found pro-eating disorder content on TikTok. So these are teenagers that don't feel very comfortable in their skin. They don't feel happy with their bodies, but they don't know what an eating disorder even is. They don't know that this is the thing that you can do where you can like eat food and throw it up later. They don't know what bulimia is, but they go on TikTok and TikTok serves them pro-eating disorder content where they find out, oh yeah, if you just throw up every single meal that you have, you're gonna lose weight because you're not taking those calories in, you're throwing it all up. And they develop an eating disorder from TikTok content. Now here's where things take a turn for the worse. We're gonna go through the final research paper that I wanna go through in this video. And this one is really, really, really uncomfortable, to be honest. These teenagers that are feeling really low in their lives, are they going to a psychiatrist? Are they looking for professional help? Are they looking for a therapist or something? No, they are looking for mental health advice on TikTok. It's a bit like going to your drug dealer and asking how you get over your cocaine addiction. And I'm gonna ask you to guess something. So Amnesty International did this study on mental health advice on TikTok. I want you to guess, out of 100 mental health advice videos, how many of them do you think were misinformation that Amnesty International found? Well, Amnesty International found that out of 100 videos, 84 of them were misinformation when it comes to mental health. 84% of mental health advice was misinformation. It was misleading. It was wrong. And in the best case, it's just misleading. In the worst case, it's genuinely harmful. It's the exact opposite of what you should do if you suffer with this mental health problem. That's what teenagers are trusting the most over any trained professional. Look, I'm sorry for all the doom and gloom. I'm making this video on social media and I'll post a short about it on TikTok and YouTube Reels, YouTube Shorts and all the rest. I'm not saying that social media is bad. I'm not even saying that TikTok is bad. What I'm trying to say is that short form content is the most addictive thing that humanity's ever created, and therefore it's very, very easy to overconsume. And there is such thing as overconsuming TikTok and short form content, and that does have some pretty scary impacts on your mental well-being, particularly if you're a younger and slightly more impressionable person. Short form content can also be really great too. I met my co-founder Hugh from being fans of each other on TikTok, and now we have an awesome startup together. Please don't take this as like an I hate social media post, because that's not what this is. This is more of a wake-up slap to audit how much of this addictive content you consume, what kind of content you're getting on the platform, and how that content makes you feel. It's been proven that this content is having an impact on our lived experience every single day. So as like with absolutely everything, it's probably best to just stick to moderate portions. Thanks a lot for watching this video. This is my first ever YouTube video, and I'm going to be making a lot more of them. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. It would mean the world to me. And see you in the next one. GG.